Let's talk about something nobody likes to admit. Leadership fails. And when it does, the consequences can be devastating, whether it's in your career, for yourself, or in your community. But why does leadership fail? And how can you avoid these critical mistakes? Today, I'm breaking down what causes leadership to fall apart and what you can do to prevent it. Here's the thing, even the best leaders fail sometimes. It's inevitable, but the failure itself isn't the biggest problem. The real danger comes from when leaders don't recognize the warning signs or take responsibility for their failure. Most importantly, they don't learn from their mistake. Leadership failures can be catastrophic. Lost trust, disengaged teams, financial loss, and even total organizational collapse. The ripple effect is real and far-reaching. Think about a time when you were a part of a team that struggled because leadership was weak or ineffective. It doesn't just affect the leader, it impacts everyone. But what if I told you there are specific, identifiable reasons why leaders fail? And by understanding these, you can avoid making the same mistake. Let's dive into the top 3 reasons why leaders fail. These are mistakes I've seen over and over again, and if you're not careful, they can happen to you. Reason number 1, lack of communication. When leaders fail to communicate clearly or consistently, everything falls apart. Misunderstandings, missed expectations, and chaos become the norm. I remember leading a team on a critical project. One simple miscommunication about a deadline led to weeks of wasted work and frustration. It was a hard lesson learned, but it made me realize how much clear communication influences success. Reason number 2, egos get in the way. When leaders think they know everything or refuse to listen to their team, failure is inevitable. An unchecked ego can destroy collaboration, creativity, and ultimately trust. Remember, leadership isn't about you, it's about the people you lead. And when your ego takes center stage, collaboration and trust take the back seat. Reason number 3, avoiding accountability. When things go wrong, the worst thing a leader can do is shift blame or refuse to take responsibility. Leadership fails when there's no accountability, and that failure trickles down through the entire team. Great leaders own their mistakes, learn from them, and become stronger because of them. But when accountability is absent, failure is guaranteed. Leadership failures don't just affect the leader. They create a ripple effect that can damage the entire organization, morale, and even your company's bottom line. Teams become disengaged. People lose trust in your vision as a leader. Without trust, productivity plummets, and your best employees start to leave. And those who stay, they're less motivated, more likely to underperform, and ultimately contribute less to the organization's goals. Think about it. How many organizations or teams have you seen crumble because of bad leadership? Maybe you've even been a part of one. The toxic environment that bad leadership creates doesn't just stop at the leader, it spreads. But here's the good news, leadership failure is avoidable. If you can recognize the warning signs and take proactive steps, you can prevent disaster before it strikes. Let's talk about 3 actionable strategies you can implement today to be proactive. Tip number 1, prioritize your communication. Make communication a daily priority. Ensure your team understands the vision, knows their role, and feels heard. Regular check-ins, clear expectations, and an open door policy go a long way. Good communication creates alignment. And when everyone's on the same page, mistakes, misalignment, and chaos are far less likely to happen. But when they do, they're met with support. Tip number 2, check your ego. Humility is key to leadership success. Encourage feedback, admit when you don't know something, and always be open to learning. Leadership isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the most adaptable. I've worked with leaders who felt they had all the answers, and it never ended well. The strongest leaders are the ones who let their team shine and build their confidence, not their own. Tip number 3, embrace accountability. Own your mistakes. Encourage your team to do the same. Accountability creates a culture of trust where people aren't afraid to take risks or speak up when things go wrong. The stronger your culture of accountability, the less likely you are to fail. Teams thrive in environments where mistakes aren't punished, but where everyone is held accountable and learns from the experience. But if leadership does fail, which it still will because these things happen, you better be ready to handle it. So the first thing you need to do is acknowledge the failure. Don't just try to sweep it under the rug. Be open and honest with your team and yourself. The second thing you need to do is reflect on what caused the failure. Were there communication gaps? Did ego or accountability get in the way? Take time to really analyze what went wrong. The third thing you need to do is take action, implement changes, adjust your leadership style. Do something to make sure that the same mistake doesn't repeat. This is your opportunity to grow as a leader. Just remember, leadership isn't about not failing. It's about failing forward, learning, and coming back stronger than before. Hey, if you're still watching the video, it means you're liking the content. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe to the channel, but I am going to ask you to watch another video that stands out to you. So scroll through one of the playlists, check out the channel page, find one that resonates, and dive in. What's one thing that you're going to take action in your own leadership to avoid these pitfalls? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll reply to everyone.